Well, hello, my loves, and happy Sunday to you. Look at these cuties. I just love making tags. They're just so much fun. Here are the supplies that we'll be using today, and these are the stencils. Now, there's 3 new Valentines stencils in the shop for you available now, and then I brought out one of the old ones from last year, the Words of Love, but we're doing some new 6x6 stencils, which are going to be great for all sizes for tags and that kind of thing. So I have used 100-pound Bristol paper, and I've cut them into tag shapes and punched a hole. And then I'm using just a few collage papers. Some of these will be free to you in the resource library if they're not already free on the website. Some of these are already free. But I'm going to just use some random bits to create the background. And I, of course, had to have some mixed media background, some papers. That's just me. So I'm just randomly getting some bits, and I just cut a bunch of squares, tore, that kind of thing. And I'm not thinking, I'm just placing them down so that I can get some texture and some interest. And they're all very, very neutral because I want the design to stand out. So I'm going to put all of that down on my Bristol paper with my Jerry's Fluid Matte Medium. This is a new product to me, and so I've been trying it out and have loved it and love the price of it in comparison to, say, my Liquitex. And I can get it in a really large jug because I use it so often. So I'm just covering my papers with the medium and then putting my papers down and covering the top. And I'll just get all of the tags done that way. And then we will continue finishing the backgrounds. So now that they're all the papers are down, I want to add just a tiny little bit. So there's little spots that maybe have nothing going on or might need some interest or have some of the back paper showing through, and so I covered that up with just some bits and pieces. And now I'm taking a piece of parchment paper and some gesso, and I'm doing my pressed paper technique. And this is perfect to get a light coverage. It's super easy. You don't need any special tools or anything. You could use wax paper. I use parchment paper on a lot of different projects, so I have it. But it's just a really great way to have a lot of control and get a light coverage on the background, because I didn't want to completely lose the papers back there. I wanted them to show up a little bit and peek through and add some fun and some interest to the cards. So I'm just continuing to repeat that, and now I'm going to add a little bit of grunge. I added a little bit of raw umber right to the paper. Didn't rinse out my brush because it kind of lightened it up a little bit, and I'm just going to add touches here and there to the tags. I'm using all Lucas paints today, and here is it's magenta or rose, I believe, and again I'm putting it right into that raw umber, kind of dirty it up a little bit so that it doesn't feel so bright and fresh, and just getting just a touch of color. So now that I've got all the backgrounds done, I'm going to start my stenciling. And the idea for tags is that it's quick. Make it quick because I can go overboard easily. So I'm using the new stencils and just kind of stenciling out my area here. I've got the hearts, and then I am using the Love is the Answer stencil. And think outside the box and really kind of use the stencils as they work for you. So I wanted the hearts to really stand out, so I just grabbed some gesso, and I'm highlighting inside because I'm making those my focal point. And I'm just highlighting inside to really make them stand out and come to life. And I'm doing the same thing with the quote. I'm adding just a tiny bit of gesso around it because that really brings the eye to that, makes it really stand out. And I'm not going to do a lot of shading because I want to make this, like with my charcoal pencil, I want to do this super simple and easy. And with a charcoal pencil, you have to seal it because otherwise you got smudging. So I'm using my Stabilo Marks All pencil for my shading. And I forgot, you go through periods where you use it all the time and then you don't. And you forget how much you love something and you grab it and you're like, oh yes. But I'm just going to do my bits of shading with my Stabilo Marks All pencil. It is water-soluble pencil, but it dries really fast. There's no smudging or anything like that. So it's perfect for these kind of quick projects. I don't have to seal it. I can just get my tags ready for my packages. And just touching up a couple of areas where I feel like maybe it's a little too muddled and I want those words to stand out just a tiny bit more. I'm going to edge my tag with my black archival ink. And like I said, I'm using all Lucas paints and archival inks today, and all of the supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog is down below in the YouTube description box. So I've got my tag. I've just grabbed another tag and I'm just going to town, and I've got my colors out here, and I'm going to do a variation of this heart, or what is it called? Ombre, variegated. I don't know why I can't remember that word. And this is the other 6x6 stencil that is available in the shop. But look at how cute that is. And I love using archival inks because it's just so easy. It's ready to go. And I just love it. And you get this really wonderful watercolor effect. It's just gorgeous. This is the Words of Love stencil, and again, I want these to be quick and easy, so I'm not putting too much thought into it, not too many layers, just super simple, because that's what it needs to be. Otherwise, we get lost and we're doing a tag for an hour and then we don't finish our projects. Cuteness! So I'm just darkening up some of those letters with some paint, some black paint. Not too much, just a tiny bit. And again, bringing some highlight around the words so that they really stand out. My shading with my Stabilo Marks All pencil. Moving on to the next tag. There's always one problem child. Always. I don't care how many times I've done this. There's always one tag, one card when I'm doing this that just doesn't quite. It just is a struggle. And this one is it. So I had a plan and I forgot the plan as I was doing it. I loved the heart. So I was planning on putting You Are Loved heart in the middle. And I totally spaced it out. I just loved how the dotted heart looked that I got all excited and forgot what I was doing. So you'll see me correct this and then correct it again, because I was going to cut this all out, but I thought, I need to leave this in because it happens to everyone. So I was like, oh, I'm not sure why. So I was confused. I didn't like the hearts, how they looked. It felt too messy. So I felt like it needed a little bit of lighter background. So I just quickly grabbed some gesso and put that down. Then I started over. And I did the same thing again. And so this is what happens when you're doing like lots of different things at one time. So yeah, I did the dotted heart in the middle again. So you'll see me fix that. All in a day's creations, right? If that's the worst thing that can happen, I am a blessed person. So I realize right now, shucks, I did it again. So I thought, well, maybe I can just make it work. So I stenciled this heart out, and I was like, I really wanted, you can see me fiddling. When I start fiddling around, I'm like, man, no, this is me trying to decide, okay, I'm going to fix it. I'm just going to do it. If it doesn't turn out, then fine. So I painted over that. There's just always one problem child. So I'm just stenciling this in with some black paint. And it actually looks pretty good now. I was like, okay, but I wasn't thrilled with it. So I thought, well, let me just do some of the finishing touches. Let me add some shading. And so I added some shading around it, and I still did not like it. It still was, something was not right. So I decided, well, if I'm not going to like it and it's not going to work, I'm just going to go for it. And I'm just going to add all kinds of goodness. And so I really extended out the Stabilo all pencil to kind of just really be dark and messy. And I thought, well, a Valentine's Day tag doesn't need to be dark. But I thought, just let go, just enjoy the process. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's really how we need to approach our creativity. And so once I did that, it was fine. And I was fine. So I added lots of dark shading, and I loved it. I loved how it turned out. Using my Sharpie paint marker. It's an acrylic paint marker, adding just a few dots here and there, and I was super happy with it. Once I just let go of what I thought it was going to be and just enjoyed the process, it was fine. So on to the last tag. And so I'm going to go ahead and lighten this one before I even start, because I know that I want the design of the one heart to really show up, and I want it to look very kind of watercolory. So I knew that I would lighten that. I wanted to lighten that just a little bit, just so that it would show up. I'm using a combination of archival inks. And these two colors together, it's magenta and vermilion. They're just gorgeous. And the green in the leaves is peeled paint. I just love it. And I'm being super careful how I stencil to make sure that I'm staying kind of in my line so that things don't run all together. I just love this design. I love how the inks work with it. It's just so beautiful. And then I just used the love from one of the 6x6 stencils, and that was all I needed. I was just super thrilled with it. I loved the background, how it turned out, and how much this stood out, and just the kind of the watercolor look of it. And so adding the Stabilo shading with the pencil added to that even more, and it was just perfect. And then I'll add shading around the edge, and that's it. Super quick, super fun tags. These tags will be available free to you to download and use for your packages, for your projects in the resource library. The link to the library is down below in the YouTube description box as well, with all of the link to the supplies and everything. It'll be on the blog. So you can jump into the resource library and get those, or sign up for the resource library, and you'll get immediate access to those for you to use and enjoy. I hope you can check out the Valentines stencils and stick around for the conversation at the end. Although I'm just doing Valentine's Day cards, I have something really important to talk to you about love. And so it's a good conversation, so I hope you stick around for that. I hope you liked today's project. If you did, subscribe and like and share and all those wonderful things. And thank you for being here, and I will see you next week. Well, hello, loves, and happy Sunday to you. Look at these cuties. I love making tags. It's just a fun, free thing. I mean, it's just, I don't know, there's no expectations. I just love it. There's always one trouble child in the bunch, but she turned out all right after I finally let go of the end result, and isn't that true for all art? But anyway, I just wanted to quickly go over the stencils again that are now available for you. And we are definitely working on smaller versions of things. So these are 6x6s, and I just love them. They're going to be great for lots and lots of different applications. We'll still have our regular sizes because that's how I create with larger, bigger pieces and that kind of thing. But I'm excited to have some versatility and have them be possibly used for planners and different things like that too. So, and then some of my old favorites, of course, that I use today. But I just, in case you did not see the Friday video that I did, because Friday the stencils were available, I made some cards, and I'll have a link to that video. Super fun cards. Is this all of them? Yeah, I think that is all of them. Maybe it is. It seems like it was a long time ago that I did that video. And I was just kind of playing, but look at how cute that is. Just super simple. And while my backgrounds are mixed media, all that kind of jazz, that's how I roll. They look so great on just like this, that's just plain white. Look at how gorgeous that is. I mean, it's comparable to this one, but it's, it's got the mixed media background. Look at how beautiful that is on just a simple white background. I love the watercolor effect that you can get with the archival inks. Love it. Oh, so pleased. Oh man. So anyway, I went over everything in the video. I just wanted to quickly kind of recap that, and all the links and supplies are on the blog. like usual, but the stencils are available now. And the only quick message that I have for you today is sometimes Valentine's Day can be, I always dreaded Valentine's Day. Holidays in general are kind of weird for me, but Valentine's Day was always kind of difficult. There were always these expectations with Valentine's Day, like, am I going to get flowers, or is it going to be a romantic day, or whatever it is for you. I mean, when I was single, it was like, oh, another lonely Valentine's Day. But I just want to, what I did was, with Valentine's Day, is I decided to rethink it. And I made it an event where it was about love. Oh, obviously, that's what it's called, the Day of Love, or the Holiday of Love, or whatever you want to call it. But loving on other people, that's my Valentine's Day. And loving on myself. We cannot love on others unless we love ourselves. So there's the old, I'll say quote, I don't know if it's a scripture or what. I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, it might be a scripture. I don't know, but it's like the golden rule: love yourself, love your neighbor as you would love yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Oh my gosh, seriously. And we kind of take that as to, we need to love others more, but when you examine that, you have to love yourself first. You love others as you love yourself. So not very many people are okay with loving themselves, which is part of the reason why there's so much anger and yuckiness out there, is because we're so loathsome on who we are. We just don't like who we are. We don't love who we are. We don't appreciate our gifts. So I want to say, love yourself first today. When you think about Valentine's Day, love you first. Tell you the things that you would tell someone else. How important you are, how talented you are, how smart you are, how creative you are, all those things, just how amazing you are. And do that over and over and over and over. Write down what you're grateful for about you. I'm grateful that I create. I'm grateful that I like to laugh. I'm grateful that I'm determined. I'm grateful that I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I'm grateful, those kinds of things. Do that first. And when we have that within us, it's so much easier to love others. It just, you can't do one without the other. You have to love yourself first, because otherwise you have nothing left to give. You have nothing to give people if you're just unhappy with who you are. So accept yourself and look at Valentine's Day or the Day of Love or whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. Give one of these to yourself. Mail it to yourself. But love you first, my loves. Appreciate all the wonderful things that you are. And then from there, you are able to love and give to others. And that is it for today. Check out the new stencils, and I hope that you take some time today to love on you and then love on others. All right, loves, have a wonderful Sunday, and always, always know that you are loved.